in preparing for this, I'm going into the soup and nuts of it. So, and if this is being recorded and other people may be watching it later, it's good to have, the full idea of what it is that is involved with tapping. So I'll start by saying that I, along with my coaching partner, Natalie Glynn, we use the modality of EFT tapping in our coaching business, Choose Your Life Coaching, with the central idea being that we can live the life that we choose to live, as in live life on our own terms, as opposed to how we were conditioned to live. And that feels really relevant when it comes to our businesses, how we consciously and, more importantly, unconsciously create our businesses, because there are choices involved in the creation process all along the way. And I feel like at a certain point in our lives, it may not be something that we're aware of for a very long time, but at a certain point, we become aware of a mismatch between what it is that we want to be choosing and creating, and then what we're actually choosing and creating. And I'll give myself as an example. It was that I wanted to be choosing things that would make my business more streamlined and passive income producing. But what I was actually choosing and creating was a little all over the place and a lot of work to keep up with it. So for you, it may be a different struggle than that. But whatever it is, if there is a mismatch between what it is that you want and what it is that you do, it is more than likely the result of your conditioning. And when I say conditioning, I mean the messages that you received early in life around work. Is it good to work hard? Does it make you a good person to work hard? Rest and relaxation. How much reward is a person allowed to have? Giving and receiving. Is it better to give than receive? And is there anything wrong with receiving? Which goes hand in hand with wanting and needing. Is it okay to ask for what you want? Is it okay to need things? And then there's your people, your tribe. What do people like us get to have in life? Visibility. Is it okay to be seen, to take up space, to shine? So all of those things are examples of our family's truths about money and wealth and hard work and opportunity. And those are the kinds of things that we absorb. They just go right in because we're very young, and that's what happens. And we don't generally challenge what we're getting. In fact, we do quite the opposite. We actually make vows around our family's truths. They can be unconscious vows. In fact, that's really more often than not what they are, to be just like our family, because we want to ensure our survival at a time when we are very helpless. And the way to do that, to get the safety and the love and the nurturing and the positive attention that we need in order to survive, is to be just like our family. So does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm getting nods. Does anybody want to share thoughts around that? Any aha moments that come up for them? Maybe what their conditioning has been?
I've got so many.
Let's hear them.
I got so many. I remember my mother. Well, these are just habits that my mother had. And as a kid, I would be so angry at her when she said, "I'm going to bed early tonight." And then at 11:30, she's emptying the dryer, folding clothes. And I remember saying to myself, I'm not doing that. And of course I am doing that. Well, maybe not so much now, but that's been sort of like, yeah, that's normal. You go to bed late and you finish your job, your kitchen's clean, and it has to be all done before you can go to bed.
Right.
Oh, there's so many things that I'm like, that's from my family. That's my sister's like that. Yeah.
And do you find that that way of operating translates into your business life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say no. I do too much.
Yeah.
I have too much on my list.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting better at it, and I'm also helping others with this issue. So as I'm doing it, teaching or working with others, I feel like I'm more with my nose into it and being more aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the biggest part is at all having any awareness of it. And then we've got a fighting chance of actually doing something in relationship to it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
When you were posing those questions, Jeannie, and you got to, is it okay to want or need anything? And I still am a proponent that I want to be a generous person, but I know that the thinking left unchecked is only giving, that there's something just inherently selfish to need anything.
Right. And how does it show up for you? Is it like when you need something, then it's hard to say anything?
It was, yeah. So I believe in being self-sufficient, but I went into being self-reliant. Like I could never ask. People would not. That was my identity in my mind, that I would just be somebody who only would give and give. And then I would be very resentful because nobody wanted to help me. So, I created my own resentment. It was from my own doing. And in my business, I could not ask for money. People would ask me my pricing and I would just stutter and stammer. It was awful.
Right.
Awful.
Yeah. Thank you. Beth, Marilyn.
I would say that all of those resonate for sure. But one that came up just recently, my sister and I were talking on the phone today, and there were 7 of us, 7 kids in the family growing up. And you can't have 7 kids having emotions at the same time, right? You just can't coordinate that. And so there were lots of lines in our family about, children should be seen and not heard. You spend the first 2 years teaching them to walk and talk, and the next 16 years telling them to shut up and sit down. All of those kinds of things. It's like, suck it up, buttercup. So you're not supposed to be out there, not supposed to shine, not supposed to take up space, right? So you can't claim you're part of the pie. You can't have the clients that you want. You can't have the space that you want to rent. You can't have an abundant, productive work program because if you're taking it up, then somebody else isn't getting it.
That's another big one too, that it's a zero sum kind of a thing. And so you're doing somebody wrong by having more.
Yes, the money doesn't grow on trees after all.
Right.
Yeah.
And we come to find out it's just a bunch of ones and zeros and nothing more than that. Yeah. Well, thanks for saying the part about the visibility part, because boy, that has been one of my big ones that I struggled with. Well, it's like the wanting to, and so it's that at odds with one's self that happens. Yeah. Beth, any?
Yeah, Marilyn, I grew up in the same way. I was one of 6, and you're absolutely right. It was you got what you wanted by towing the line, and being good. And being good was following the rules and working hard. And you got recognition by working harder than everyone else, and not asking for anything.
Right. I could totally relate. So we've got 3 big families, because I'm one of 10 kids. and so the same thing, like no, emotions are not allowed. And the working hard, it's like, yeah, that's how to earn some visibility and love, is like go way over the top with what you have to offer. So, all right. So good. We've got we understand what is behind, what is essentially the root cause of why there is this mismatch between what it is that you want to have going on in your business, in your life, but we're talking about our business here, and what is actually going on in your business. So now let's get some shares around what are some of the more unpleasant emotions that come up in relationship to your business. And this would be, and I'm asking this because with the tapping, we're going to be working on those. So it's good to be able to identify, how does it show up for you? Negative category emotions that don't help you and can be hard to manage.
If I could, while it's on my brain, because it does come up, so that again, that need to please, and so if there is any sort of pushback, my instinctive reaction is to apologize and work harder. It's somehow my fault, even though, 5 minutes later, when I have a minute to think about it and I'm able to process the information, not just the emotion, I can see that, oh, well, wait a minute. But right away, your natural instinct is to, yes, of course it's my fault. I'll fix that.
Yeah. So, okay. So would that be, if you were to name it, self-doubt, self-blames, use the word apologetic. That's what's the feeling that goes along with all of that? Or better yet, where do you feel it in your body? Where does it show up for you?
Interesting. I guess the throat area, maybe.
Interesting.
Right.
Throat.
It's an instant flush, I guess. Right. Yeah, and a tingling, I guess. And it just sort of numbs my brain, and I fall back on instinct. And that's a terrible instinct. I know it, just to instantly apologize and accept all blame. But
Yep. So that will be something that we can apply tapping to. And so that's good that you got as clear and specific about it as you did. Thank you. Others want to share? We're in the realm of negative emotions that come up for you within your business life.
What's weird for me is that I am better at pricing than I ever have been since working with you, but I still am bad at marketing, and it has nothing to do with not knowing how. I know the steps, so intellectually, and I think of what you just said, Beth, I know that that's bad, but you still have the feelings, and the feelings tend to win out. So if I'm putting a post up or I'm talking to somebody, to talk about what I do feels like talking about myself, and talking about myself feels shameful.
Okay.
Who do you think you are? Even though all I'm doing is trying to help my clients, in a way that helps them to feel good and all that. But even now, as I'm talking about it, I feel myself, I'm getting like, oh, what are you doing? Yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Good one. Shameful. I mean, not a good one, but like to be able to name it is really important. The shame that comes up around sharing, offering. Yeah. And where is it in your body, that sense of that feeling of shame?
Just like Beth, initially it's probably in my gut, and then in my, like, it just rises up. from my gut into my chest and into my throat.
Into
And
throat.
it just, it is always accompanied with the same phrase of who do you think you are? That anyone wants to hear this, or anyone wants to see what you do, or anything. It's always who do you think you are?
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Ellen or Marilyn?
I would touch in on the one that Lisa first brought up, and that is about setting prices and asking for money in exchange for what I am offering, especially in the realm of movement and art and yoga. Those are things we're supposed to be giving away, right? It's not supposed to have a monetary value associated with it. It's really hard to identify that and say that I do value what I do. I want you to value what I do as well. And this is what it's going to cost.
And what's the feeling that comes up when you go to say that this is what it costs?
Well, the sensation is not being able to breathe. That
Okay, so-
can't really say it because it's not being able to catch my breath
wow.
and come out with that. And the desire to say something, to diminish it instead, to brush it off. Yeah.
Would you say, because I can relate very much so, embarrassment, that there would be money connected to this?
Yes.
Yes.
And feeling like I somehow have to enumerate all of my credentials each time I ask for money to be able to convince somebody that I have value to offer.
So you have to prove yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Okay. Good, good, good. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing that, Marilyn. Ellen?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, what is my negative emotion or unpleasant emotions? I think I am my own worst enemy when it comes to a list of things to do, and I'm a perfectionist. And whether I don't get my list finished on the day, then I don't feel so good. And if I get something done really well, that feels good. But the perfectionist in me is just always criticizing and critiquing on my efforts. But then again, I can be pretty laxy-daisy in other things. So maybe I'm starting to break through from it. Could that be it?
Sure, sure. And this part, there's the part of me that does it this way and the part of me that does it this way. So yeah, they can both be in there. But when the critical part is up and activated and doing its thing, what's the feeling in response to what you're hearing?
I guess, yeah, a little choked up feeling, heavy chest feeling.
Okay, good, good, good. And now I'm going to ask you each to tune into it. I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead, but since we've shared so fully, this is great time to do it. Tune into that experience that you just described to me. And if you were to measure it 0 to 10, 0 is you can't feel anything at all about it, and 10 is it's really intense. How strong is it for you at its worst when that comes up for you? So I'm asking you to go to the worst case scenario of it. And actually, each one of you in your own mind, give it a name. If you were to title this experience, just like a short little phrase, a word or two, just know what you would call it so that it's there for you to refer to. And you don't have to share that right now, but know what it is. Okay, so now having just done that, we did a little bit of out of order, but I want to do a little introduction that's more formal around tapping. So it is a truly wonderful, simple, easy to use, in the moment tool that can have the effect of taking you out of what you each just described, which is essentially the fight, flight, freeze response, and put you right back into your power. Take you out of, because where you go is to the emotional part of the brain or the reptilian part of the brain. And what you want to do is get put back into the rational part of your brain. And that's what tapping is able to do. So I'm going to show you the style of tapping that Natalie and I use with people, the Choose Your Life style of tapping. But first, I'll give you a little background on tapping so that you have context for it. So how to tap, we'll also cover, and then we'll go through and we'll do it with an actual experience. So tapping is also known as EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. And it's this wonderful combination of the basic principles of psychology along with the ancient Chinese medical practice of acupressure. So by tapping on these specific acupressure points on your face, your upper body, and your hands, while you're tuning into an emotion or an issue, it brings your system back into balance. And we'll go into the specifics of it, but that's the general idea of it. And it is based in science. It's really wonderful to be able to say that it is clinically proven to do a whole host of things, including reduce the intensity of traumatic memories, conquer phobias, anxiety, stress, compulsions, addictions, food cravings, physical pain, mental blockages, and pretty much any issue that is influenced by our mind. Okay, so there's the mind-body connection, and tapping is brilliant for getting in there and interrupting something and soothing something. There was one study that appeared in the oldest peer-reviewed psychology journal in the United States, and this is a significant finding. It was that tapping lowers cortisol, that's the stress hormone, 10% more than the other interventions that were being tested at the same time. So 10% is really statistically significant. All right, so now let's do the tapping points. We'll go over these and let's all do them together. So we use as many fingers as you want. You can use one finger, you can use two fingers, you can use all four fingers, and you have both sides of your face. Sometimes there are twin points and sometimes there's only one, but let's do it with one hand, and you can use as many fingers as you want. Inside of eyebrow is the first one. So right where the eyebrow begins, right on the rim of the eye socket. And then we do outside of eye, which is again right on the rim of the eye socket, on the outside of the eye. Under the eye, rim of the eye socket there. And then under the nose, above the lip, cleft of the chin, right in there. And then there's the collarbone area, which I think is a pretty general area. So find your collarbone, it's way up here, the bone itself. Come down a little bit so that you feel the softer area where it might feel a little tender to press into it. I go there. I've also seen bow tie area, so it could be here as well. So anywhere, you'll find it where it makes sense. I do this area a lot when I'm doing just one point. Then we go to underarm. So that's like right at the bra line, right underneath your arm. And then we have the wrist. So you can tap your wrists together, kind of like Isis. Side of hands together, karate chop point. That's a nice one to do. And then all over the top of the head. all over the crown of the head. So those are the points, and that would consist of a round of tapping. It's an extraordinarily forgiving process. You cannot do it wrong as long as you're hitting the points. It doesn't matter how many times you tap on a point. It doesn't matter if you do them in this particular order that was just outlined here. And in fact, like when we're tapping together, tap like you may be mirroring me, so you'll be keeping up with me. I tend to skip here and here when we're doing it together and I'm talking, just because it's right in front of the mouth. So I'll go from under eye all the way down to collarbone. So you feel free to tap where you want to tap. Any questions about that? The tapping points? No? Great. All right. So then moving right along, the Choose Your Life tapping protocol. So given that those are the tapping points, now what you're going to do is, and we've already found one, is you're going to focus on an issue, a problem. And the way in which you focus on it is you get specific about it. You know how you know it's an issue for you. So I asked you questions about it and you gave me specific answers about it. So that would be noticing how you know that it's something that doesn't feel good. And you tune inward and you notice by asking yourself, is it something I'm feeling, something I'm thinking, something I'm remembering? So is it something I'm hearing? That would be like thinking. Is it something I'm seeing? That would be like remembering. And feeling. Are there sensations in my body that are coming up? And different people have different predominant things. Like somebody might be very visual and they see a lot, but they don't hear very much. Whereas other people are very auditory and they're just like, oh my God, I hear so many things going on in my head. And then you have to like check in and go, what else is there? Is there something in my body that I'm feeling as well? And it's a combination generally of those three things. So once you've got that, just like we did before, you measure the initial intensity of it. How strong is it at the outset? 0 to 10. And we like to measure in tapping because things change fast when tapping. So like jotting down the number is good because then later when you go back to it, you'll be surprised. It's like, oh, wow, that was a 7 and now it's a 4. Wow, that really changed. Whereas if you don't write down the number, it can be easy to miss that real change has just occurred. Okay, so once you've got that, do I have any questions? No, you're all tracking. Okay, good. So then once you've got it, you've focused on it, you've aimed at the problem, then you're going to take your attention away from the issue that you're addressing. And that's a little bit different than the traditional style of tapping, because with that one, they're asking you to focus on the problem while you're tapping through the points. And we're not doing that. We're knowing how we know it's a problem, and then we're going to use the fact that we're tapping to be a great thing that we can put our attention on. So you can focus on the feeling of your fingertips tapping through the points. And if you do it right now, you'll notice that there's a temperature to your finger. There's a weight to your finger. That's the kind of thing that you want to put your attention on, even as you may be saying words that have to do with the issue. And it's a little bit like rubbing belly and tapping head at the same time. It's a little challenging, but it's totally possible to do. And doing it, the fact that it's challenging is part of what makes change while tapping happen. You're confusing the conscious mind. You're communicating with your subconscious mind, and you're lowering the intensity of the issue all at the same time by tapping in this manner. Then what we do in Choose Your Life tapping that's different than traditional tapping is you're going to, like, say we've just tapped through a round of tapping, saying words that relate to the problem, but your focus is on your fingertips. Then you're going to hold your wrist, and go ahead and do this now. You're going to hold on to your wrist and give it a squeeze as you inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. And you release the breath and your wrist at the same time, and you say peace. Okay? Now, what you're going to have associated with the wrist is positive stuff. So this has all been negative stuff. You're interrupting negative with the tapping, but you further interrupt it by going to some place positive in your mind. Okay? Wrist is an anchor where you're anchoring in something positive. So inhale, hold, exhale, peace, still holding the wrist, but lightly so. And you're going to go to a happy memory. Oftentimes it's good to have a counterpoint to the problem. So if it is, for example, I'll use Beth's, where it's my fault, maybe you'd go to a memory that's a win. It's like, it was because of me that really great thing came about. And it felt really good to be responsible for something so wonderful. And I didn't feel apologetic. I felt proud of what it was that happened. Okay, so finding something that's counter to what you're dealing with is a good place to go when you're choosing a happy memory or a happy, positive sensation. So does everybody get that that's what we do when we're holding on to the wrist? Super. Then we let go of the wrist, because the wrist is only positive stuff. So when we let go of the wrist, then it's time to check back in with the problem. And you just do that by asking yourself, what's there now? And it may be different. It may be the same. It may be worse. It may be better. You don't judge and you don't manipulate. You just notice. And whatever you notice, it's good to measure. What's the intensity now, 0 to 10? Jot that number down. And then get a specific around what it is that's going on now. Oh, that thing in my throat is not as strong anymore, but it is still there. And then that right there is what we tap on. You just, because we want to take it all the way down to nothing. So if there's still something there, we're going to tap. And it can be as simple as saying, while tapping through the points, it's okay to let it go. It's safe to let it go. It's time to let it go. Letting it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Just that. And then again, go to the wrist, give it a squeeze on the inhale, 4 count, hold for 4, release for 4, peace. And that's essentially the drill. Any questions about that? No. Do you want to tap together on something? Marilyn? Oh, I thought you were going to unmute. No. Okay. So then let us do it with what it is that you titled from before. So let me get to my script for taking us through. I literally didn't think that we were going to have time for this. I was like, okay, that's how you tap. But since we've got time, let's do it. Let's take ourselves through. Here we go. Go ahead and tune into your problem and do it by taking a couple of nice deep breaths. Bring your attention back over to what the issue is, how you know it's a problem, how strong it is, 0 to 10 in your system right now. And go ahead and hold up your fingers for how strong it is, like 10. So we've got an 8, 6, 7, have I got a 4 there? All right. Any way to make it stronger, Beth? Is there one aspect of it that you could tune into that would make it, because we'll get it high so that we have something to work with to bring it down.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of the same thing, and the tapping helps. It's
So
not
it's
quite
already,
so
it's already
bad.
shifted.
Yeah.
Stay at 4. Stay at 4. We don't need to success.
No, I'll think about it.
But if you can, make it as strong as you can in your system, because we're going to tap on it. Okay. And you've got it. You know how strong it is. And we're tapping. You follow me as you tap through the points and say aloud or to yourself after me as you tap through the points, I'm releasing all attachment to how I felt denied, rejected, insecure, jealous, unloved, lost, unmotivated, abandoned, stuck, overwhelmed, filled with regret, shame, apologetic. Who do you think you are? It's all my fault. I'm supposed to give it away. I have to prove myself. If it's not perfect, it's not good enough. I have to do it really well. That choked up feeling, heaviness in the chest, not able to breathe. Feel it in my gut, all the way up to my throat. Flushing, tingling, numb, almost blacking out. Releasing all attachment to the rules of the story. It's time to let it all go. And hold on to the wrist, give it a squeeze. Inhale. Exhale. And releasing the hold, but still holding on to the wrist as you go to a happy place, a nice happy memory, a time when you were in your power, things feel good. Whatever it is that came readily to mind, notice how you know that that feels good. See it, hear it, feel it. Make it stronger if you can. Notice how you did that. And then go ahead and inhale as you squeeze again. Hold. Exhale. And let go of the wrist and say peace. and right back over to the problem and just notice what's there now. What's different? 0 to 10, how strong is it now? We've got a 3, a 4, a 3. Beth, 2. Great. Know how you know that that's what it is now. If it's somewhere in your body, locate where it is in your body, or it's a thought, or it's a memory, something you see. Just notice what it is that's there. And tap. And say, I can let that go too. It's okay to let it go. It's safe to let it go. It wants to let go. I give it permission to let go. Letting it go. Hold on to the wrist, give it a squeeze, inhale, hold, release, peace. And without even going to a happy memory, go ahead and just let go of the wrist and right back to the issue and notice what's there now. Strength of it, 0 to 10.
Pretty much a 0 for me.
Went down to a 0, a 2 for Marilyn.
Yeah, like a
Nothing.
1, maybe a 1, maybe not even.
Yeah.
None.
It seems foolish now. It seems like nonsense.
So this is great. So that you all went down there. First of all, let's celebrate that. I want arms in the air and say, yes, yes, I did that. That is amazing that we have the ability to do that to ourselves. So then it puts us in a position where we can go in the opposite direction. What I would rather have instead. So with, and let's just go around and let's say, as opposed to being apologetic and it's my fault, Beth, how would you like to be when something comes up? How would that scenario go if you were fully in your power?
I think it would be a pause, right? If I'm envisioning the same scenario, I like to think that I'd be able to take that pause to clarify and make sure that it's not me and that it's it's a combined effort to come to a solution versus taking on all of the blame.
Beautiful. And where would you feel that in your body, in the pause? Like just go there and like imagine that the pause is in fact happening. Where's that in the body?
Funny, it's in the back of my neck.
Back of neck. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good, 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 good. Okay, so that's going to be your instead that we'll go to. And Lisa, how about you when it's marketing time? What would you rather have instead?
Just to be able to offer it freely with love and still generosity, but not guilt.
Right. So the opposite of guilt is what?
That's a good question.
I'd like to know that answer.
Contentment is what I'm thinking, but I don't know.
Content.
Yeah.
Good.
And a
Good.
level of pride, not arrogance, but a level of pride.
Yep. Yep. Pride. And where do you feel that in the body?
You know, it's the same place. It's just cooler. It's like a different phenomenon, but in the same place.
Good. Okay. So it's wait. And so we're so from like the whole
Yeah.
torso area, but it's
Yeah, just like, as I think of it, I feel lighter.
nice, beautiful. Marilyn, how about yours? Asking for money.
I would be feeling comfortable and confident with what I am offering and having value for that, and not infusing the money with the power, right? It's just money.
Oh,
Putting it on the value that the money is just a thing.
great, great, great. Okay, so comfortable, confident, and in valuing was a word, right, that you used? Yeah. And where is that in the body?
It's a lift to the chest, and it's also like a shine on the crown. It's just like radiating out.
Ooh, 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 ooh. So that's like a really, like whenever we have those metaphors, those are really good. That's the subconscious language. So so really take that like a shine of a crown. Like you can really go to town with that. Like let yourself like see it, feel it. It might be like play with it, because that's your subconscious talking.
Cool.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. And Ellen, how about you? Perfectionism is
Yeah.
doing what now?
Oh, I feel right now, I feel so much freer. It's so much lighter. That weight is gone. I think I want to feel less, what's the word? I feel like I'm not good enough when I don't perform according to my standards. So I want to feel good enough.
Right. And that's it. That's right. So what does good enough feel like?
Well, it feels very peaceful. Feels kinder, much kinder to me. More loving.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Easier. It's much
Easy.
easier.
Where in the body is it?
I want to say my heart area then, heart chakra.
Beautiful. Okay. Good job, ladies. So then that's what we want to do is each one of you take this rewritten, like basically you're rewriting something. You're redirecting neural pathways right now to how it is that you would rather it go instead. So we want to strengthen that. So go ahead and turn inward and see that in your mind's eye and play it out like it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. See where it starts. It goes through a process and it ends up somewhere. And you can just find out what internally that looks like, sounds like, and feels like. And when you've got it, find the part of it from that beginning, middle, end that you can use as an anchor, that you can say, that is it. That's how I can refer to it easily. And hold on to the wrist as you do this, because this is a positive anchor. And you want to strengthen it. So the feelings that you had, the clarity, the combined effort, the cooler offer, freely, generosity, contentment, pride, confident, comfortable, valuing, freer, lighter, kinder, peaceful. those feelings. Notice how you are able to bring yourself to those places at will. And find it in the body. And if it had a color, notice what color it would be. You can't get it wrong. So whatever color comes to mind, that's what it is. And then go ahead and see that color as a pinpoint of light in the center of your chest. And in fact, you can let go of your wrist and put your hand over your heart area and feel that new experience there as that pinpoint of light in the center of your chest, as that color. And it grows from the heart area, fills up that whole space in the heart area, and it radiates out from there through your whole body, downward, down to the bottom, feet. And then when it gets down to the bottom of your body, it comes back up again, fills you up like a glass filling with water, all the way up to the top of your head, filling up every cell of your body, going everywhere, even radiating out from you. It's that strong. And just notice how good that feels to have it everywhere in your body and beyond. And when it feels nice and rememberable that you could be able to call on this because you know what it is, go ahead and hold on to the wrist again to anchor it in one more time with a squeeze on the inhale and a hold and an exhale. And peace. And when you're ready, you can return to the room by opening your eyes. Everybody's eyes are open. And just notice what's there now. Notice how different from the original place that we started. And if anyone wants to share what that was like at any point of that process, I'm happy to hear.
It's funny, I've done these sessions with you, Jeannie, with the 333 Collective, probably 2 or 3 or 4, and every time I choose the same color.
Joe?
Yeah, I don't know why. It's this bright ocean turquoisey blue, clear and fresh and just, yeah, honest and open and yeah.
Ah, that's so powerful. And it's there for you. It's like really like viscerally there for you.
Yeah.
So to imbue the color with that, like you say, peaceful, kinder, loving, lighter, freer feeling.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing then that's able to be brought as well as the tapping, but along with it, when that critical voice is present, it's like, oh, I know what to do now. Yeah, good one.
Good
Thank
one.
you.
I think it's so interesting that these thoughts that dictate, I'll speak for myself, that have dictated my life for so long are so powerful. And it's not until this time, after all of the times that I've worked with you, Jeannie, it occurs to me, I can have the same power, but from another direction. Like it's still my mind. If that makes sense. It's,
Yes.
it's coming from the same place, but I can just apply the power differently. Yeah.
Right, right, right. You get to choose, essentially. It's like
Mhm.
the other one is a little choice less. It's just running the show, going on automatic pilot.
Yeah.
But you're like experiencing just how powerful you are in the opposite direction, the positive direction.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
great,
interesting.
great.
Yeah, and I thought it was being able to let go through the tapping was wonderful. But like Lisa was saying and Ellen was saying, it's funny how applying a color just gives you, for me, gave me an anchor to be able to focus on, to distract and empower my thoughts.
Yeah, fantastic, really. And it really is, color is very powerful. We like get it kind of associated with kid stuff and play, which is like play too is extraordinarily powerful, but it's not diminutive. It's not like, oh, color. No, it's really a good thing to be able to utilize like you just did. Marilyn, anything you want to share?
I was going to say it's almost like the action of doing that either fills up the space that you've just cleared of something else.
Yeah, maybe.
Or it comes in and it feels like it just then moved anything that was remaining out. And so now all that's there is this fresh palette.
Fabulous. Boy, that's good. Really good. Thank you for sharing that. And Beth, you had something like that off of that?
Yeah, I didn't realize my volume was on. But yeah, so that's a great description, Marilyn, of sort of emptying that space and refilling it with that color that provides the counter to what you were feeling.
Yeah, that's it. Right. It really like having the counter be the other thing that you want instead when after you've cleared, done enough clearing, got it down to somewhere in the range of 0 to 2, that's when you're in a place to like fill it up with whatever you want instead. And the imagination is limitless. So just go nuts with how good you want it to be. It doesn't have to be reasonable. It can be make it as good as you possibly can. Yeah. Great work, ladies.
Thank you so much, Jeannie. Thank you.
Yeah,
Always.
thank you, Jeannie.
Every
So
time.
good.
Thank you.
I
This
felt
was
a little I felt a little emotional too, just a little twinge of, both with the tapping and both with the color imagination. Yeah.
That's actually release. So that's great. Like emotion, like when it's like stuff's moving through. Yep. Yawning is another way that release happens. But it's like the body just wants to release it. I'll say water. Drink your water. I don't know who's good at water already, but
Yeah.
that's another thing that helps to move stuff through. It's an electrical system that we're working with when we're working with the nervous system with the tapping.
So I see this is, I think, the third time that I've been able to benefit from, your sharing. And so I found that this time was more impactful. And I'm just trying to think about how. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, how can we help you in your business? Because it seems that, you're giving so much. So in that same capacity, I'd love to know how, how your sessions go with your clients, I can see now it's not necessarily a one and done.
Right. No, right. There's so much. One, because in order to make it a habit, it's so that it is a go-to thing. It's like it just takes the time that it takes in order to get it going on. And so for that reason alone, it's good to have repeated exposure to it and practice with it. And then there's a lot of nuances, of course, when it's like it's not always going to be the same. So it's good to know how to troubleshoot while tapping. But to answer your question, I would say that a nice way, and this is in the works, but we're creating, Natalie and I, products so that it's like a combination of do it yourself, but like then also in conjunction with us guiding, but it's a tool that you'd have a do it yourself version of it. And so when that's in place, being able to spread the word about that would be great.
Yeah. And
Is that a
what
physical
is that?
Is that a physical tool or more like a digital? I know you started something like a year-long.
Right.
And something different.
Yeah, this is different than that. This is we're taking the tapping protocol and making it, adjusting it, tailoring it to, so say somebody is stuck in the arena of finances, they would use the tapping protocol that's good for that. But it might be that it's physical stuff, weight issues that somebody's dealing with. So then it would be that version of it. So we're going to have a whole suite of them, and we'll be able to, sell those to people, and then they can if they want, work with us in conjunction with it, or it's standalone and they can utilize it all by themselves.
Jeannie,
Exciting.
I have that document that you emailed me, which is
Oh, yes.
so informative. And I just made a link for it. That's what I was doing. So if you heard me
Oh.
clicking, I'm sorry, I realized my mute was not on.
Oh, that's
Do you want me to
great.
put that in the chat?
That would be great if you can do that.
It is there. So if you go to that link that's in the chat right now, I'll leave it there for a week or so and you can download it. And we can talk later, Jeannie, about whether you want me to share it with the whole group. It seems like it would be less effective.
Actually, that would be a great way. Yeah, actually better, even better than what I said is if you share that out, that it puts the word out about what Choose Your Life coaching is about. It's like, this is what the idea is, and these are the assumptions that we're working on.
Nice.
So,
and we will also make a YouTube video out of this, and I'll get the link to everyone that's here tonight, because you would better be able to share it with others because you experienced it. So then people would have an idea of the entire process as well.
and literally everything that you all shared, personal as it is, it's so incredibly universal. It's like that is not unique to you.
Okay.